Wanna be Ryan the Great, and today we are talking about the Lakers versus Grizzlies series, guys. And the Lakers are currently up 2-1 in this series. They won the other night against the Memphis Grizzlies to take the 2-1 series lead. Ja Morant still with his hand injury. The Lakers playing better. In Game 3, it's a lot better than they did in Game 2, especially Anthony Davis and whatnot. LeBron James answering Dylan Brooks after he called him old and saying he can't play, and I don't respect you till you drop 40 on me, all this, that, and the other. We're going to talk about the first three games, reviewing those, and then we will talk about, talk about where the series goes from here, talk maybe a little bit about Ja Morant, and then we will talk about the LeBron James and Dylan Brooks controversy, beef, I don't really know what you want to call it, but we're going to get right into it. But before we get right into it, guys, make sure you subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my Brother Lane the Great blogs. Make sure you go subscribe to my second channel at Ryan the Cod Great. And make sure you follow me on Twitch at Ryan the Great Podcast. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the video. So starting off, we will look at Game 1. The Lakers pulled out that one, 128 to 112. That game, I loved what Austin Reeves did that game. He shot 8 for 13 from the field, 23 points. Second highest scorer on the team behind Roy Hachimura, who's had a great series so far. I'm liking what he's doing, very efficient from the field. In that game, he was 11 for 14 and 5 for 6 from the field. But the Memphis Grizzlies in this game, they really couldn't stop Austin Reeves, who was a great facilitator, making the extra pass, scoring the ball when he needed to. Then LeBron James and Anthony Davis, solid games of their own. Davis, 10 for 17 from the field, 22 points. He was plus 27 in the plus minus, so he did really good. LeBron James shooting 50%, 21 points, doing what he needs to do, playing behind Austin Reeves, which was good, took that leadership role and being behind him. The Memphis Grizzlies, on the other hand, Ja Morant, the hand injury and all, didn't play the final 5 minutes. He ended up with 18 points in that game. Jaren Jackson Jr., who's had a pretty good series so far, he's giving you the points that you need. Also, he scored 31 points in that game. I believe he's averaging around 25 points per game in this series, so he's doing really well there. Bane, solid game, 22 points. But they got out-rebounded on the glass, and their guard play in the end, they could not stop Austin Reeves, defending him. So that's the problem without Ja Morant being there. Dominating on the glass. Brooks did hold LeBron, even though shooting 50% from the field. So solid game for him, doing what he does best, and that's aggravating. But yeah, I believe this was the game where they got dominated on the glass. Let me check the team stats here. 45 to 34. Lakers got 10 offensive rebounds in that game. Not anything that you would want to see. And they shot 53% in that game as well. So now we move on to Game 2, and the Memphis Grizzlies won 103 to 93. This game was without Ja Morant. And let me tell you something. Anthony Davis got punked in this game. He shot 4 for 14 from the field and 13 points. There was a stat where it was like the second lowest field goal percentage in the playoffs in Anthony Davis's career. Very awful game for Anthony Davis. LeBron, solid game, 28 points. But they could not keep up with the consistent scoring of the Memphis Grizzlies. Kennard had 13 off the bench. Roddy had 9 off the bench. And then Jackson, 18. Tillman, 22. Brooks, 12. Tyus Jones, 10. And Bane, 17. So solid scoring all around from them. Everybody was in the plus minus in the starting everybody in the starting lineup was in the plus minus in the starting lineup. So good game for everybody there. The team stats were pretty even, but this was just a great, team game from the Memphis Grizzlies and the Lakers. Anthony Davis, once again, not shooting great. D'Angelo Russell only shooting 5 for 12, or 2 for 11, sorry. Hachimura, a good game from him off the bench, 20 points, 7 for 12 from the field. But, the Lakers in that game, they just didn't have enough scoring to keep up with the Memphis Grizzlies. Then in Game 3, which ultimately ended up happening the other night, the Lakers won 111 to 101. That game started out crazy. I was streaming Ryan Garcia versus Javonte Davis, and I wasn't watching this game, but I heard it was like 24 to 9 in the first few minutes. I mean, the Grizzlies were getting absolutely dominated. A great game 45 points, 13 for 26 from the field, 6 for 10 from 3. But Jaren Jackson Jr., not a great game for him, 13 points, 4 for 12 from the field. Brooks got ejected in 19 minutes played after hitting LeBron James. 7 points for him, 3 for 13. Bane, solid game. I feel like they do need more, but he was -9 in the plus-minus, 18 points, 7 for 14 from the field. They're going to need more from Desmond Bane if they do want to win this series. The bench, not too much, but finally, Anthony Davis, who I do believe they should be going to more over LeBron James. I believe he, is more of an important piece. They're in this series, I would say, because, there is no Steven Adams, there is no Brandon Clark. Brandon Tillman is making his starting playoff debut. So you would probably want to get the ball more to Anthony Davis. He had 31 points, 11 for 24 from the field. Not it's under 50%, but that's all right. He did solid. LeBron James, 25 points, 10 for 20 from the field. Solid game from him. Everybody else was solid. Reeves, 13. Russell, 17. Hachimura, once again, 16 off the bench. He is playing great. Nothing bad to say about Roy Hachimura. And, yeah, so now the Lakers have taken the 2-1 series lead. Where the series goes from here, I'm still taking Memphis in 7 games. If the Lakers do win this one, I believe that they probably will take it in 6, because I don't think Memphis is going to go back to their home court and lose, because that crowd is always hype, and I just think that they could rock them. But it's not going to be good if the Lakers win this, take the 3-1 advantage. I do believe they need to go punk Anthony Davis again. If they have to give up fouls, they have to give up fouls. You got to get him off his game some way or the other. Giving up 2 fouls just to get Anthony Davis off his game is not really a big loss. You can't really do much about LeBron James. He's had a solid series so far. The best you could do is get into his head. That's really the most you can do. But the role players, Reeves, Russell, they're playing all right. Hachimura's playing great off the bench. I'm liking what I'm seeing from him. I still think the Memphis can take this one in 7 games. But for now, it's looking good for the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm not going to lie. Now let's talk about the LeBron James and Dillon Brooks controversy. Listen, Dillon Brooks undoubtedly is the biggest villain in the NBA. Nobody really likes him outside of Memphis. I really don't have an opinion on the guy. I actually kind of like what he's doing, because this game needs a little more trash talk. We got jersey swaps and all that. Can we see a little more competitiveness? They say it's one of the most ultra-competitive leagues in the world. Instead, we're always, hugging hands. Hey, I love you, man. Hey, jersey swap picture, yada, yada, yada. I'm not saying you can't do that, but, there's no competition, it seems like. Everybody just is all fine and dandy. So I think Dillon Brooks, though, he is one of the smartest people in America. And let me tell you why. Dillon Brooks has said, okay, you got to go drop 40. You're old. You can't do this, can't do that anymore. So, and then the media hears this. They go out and say, okay, LeBron, you got to go drop 40. You got to go shut this guy up. What does that make the Lakers do? That makes them game plan all for LeBron. You want to know why? Because if LeBron's unhappy, there's a problem. So then Darvin Ham goes to game plan for LeBron. And then, if he takes too many shots, and, Brooks is not a bad defender. He's not a scrub. He can play. And he holds down LeBron to what he had in the first game, 20 to 21 points, which is probably the most you're going to hold him down to. That's solid. And the Memphis Grizzlies get the win. Luckily for Darvin Ham, he did not do that in Game 3. I'm not sure if he's going to do that in Game 4, 5, 6, if necessary. So we will see what they have to do. But the media is going to keep going at LeBron, saying you have to go, you have to go out and do this. As much as I don't like LeBron, I give him respect for not commenting on this, because, I believe he is a little too smart just to get involved in this. I'll give him credit for that. I'm not a LeBron fan at all. So, but I will give him credit on this, not responding to it. I give him credit there. So bottom line, I saw Memphis, maybe taking this in 7 games. If the Lakers are able to pull out the next game in LA, then they probably will end up taking the series in 6 games, in my opinion. But we will have to see if John Morant can pull out another 45-point game. But, if Ja could drop 45 with his, hand injury, imagine what he can do fully healthy. It's just that the last game, the role players, Jaren Jackson Jr., Bane. Bane did shoot 50% from the field, but 18 points is not going to help. The bench needs a little more help from there. He just needs a little more help from the people around him, Ja, and I think that they could do this. But for right now, the Lakers look really good, and I think that they have a real good chance of winning this series. But that'll do it for this video, guys. Make sure you subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Randy the Great Vlogs. Make sure you go subscribe to my second channel at Randy the Great, and make sure you follow me on Twitch at Randy the Great Podcast. And as always, Randy the Great out. Peace.